Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Lisa Stroda. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Holistic Life Coach Podcast, where you'll get some motivation, inspiration, and value from movers, shakers, world changers, and unabashed dreamers. If you'd like to share your story, contact me through the show's website, theholisticlifecoachpodcast.com, and we'll see if you're a good fit. Hey, beautiful souls. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Holistic Life Coach Podcast. I love bringing you stories of inspiring people who have overcome hardships and have ups and downs and have attained success. And today I'll be chatting with Daniel Blue. Daniel is a regular contributor to Forbes.com and owner of Quest Education, a company that helps entrepreneurs obtain capital for their companies, pay off high-interest debt, and use self-directed retirement accounts to invest in alternative assets. With over 10 years of educating small business owners, Daniel has a knack for helping individuals get creative with their finances that lead to life-changing results. Under Daniel's leadership, Quest Education has reached the seven-figure mark 2 years in a row with 1,000 customers throughout the United States. His book, Blueprint to Your Best Retirement, is an Amazon bestseller. He also hosts the podcast, How Winners Win, with Keita Spears. Daniel became a father at age 19 and has dealt with addiction and recovery. He is a great comeback story. So welcome, Daniel, to the pod.
Lisa, I really appreciate the introduction, and I'm grateful to be here.
Yeah, I was listening to your podcast and heard your episode that you did with your mom. And, that's great. Everyone should listen to you and Keita interviewing your moms. Can you tell us about your childhood and what that was like?
Yeah, I thought it was Mother's Day, and we were thinking, yeah, let's have a unique episode for our podcast, and thought interviewing our moms and having that episode come out on Mother's Day would be quite fitting. So that was a fun time. So just growing up, I had a normal childhood, middle class. Didn't have a ton of money, but it's not like we were dirt poor. I had a mom and a dad in the same house, and didn't really have a whole lot to complain about as a kid. Things definitely changed. They turned in a different direction when I was 12 years old. My parents got divorced, and my dad ended up moving to Mexico and staying there. And that left with just my mom and I. And my mom worked full time. She was a social worker for many years. So I had a lot of unsupervised time. And with my dad leaving, I had a lot of unanswered questions. I was really confused, why someone I was so close to would just choose to leave and not come back. And now I never talked to them, I didn't have a relationship with them. So I had a lot of anger, frustration, fear. And I started making a lot of bad decisions in middle school and high school, and got really, really close to failing and not graduating. And I ended up moving to Utah from California to graduate high school. I finished my senior year, and it was really tough between my mom and I. We really butt heads a lot. And when I turned 18, I barely graduated high school. And then when I turned 18 years old, there's three things that really shaped my life. One, I ended up getting a woman pregnant. Two, I got addicted to Oxycontin. And then three, I ended up dropping out of college. And I'm an entrepreneur today, and grateful to have awesome clients and amazing employees. But I don't have this like Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, entrepreneur story where, I've been a business owner for years and years and years. And I dreamed of being a business owner, and, it just came out of necessity. I struggled with my mom growing up, and I just knew that I didn't want to live that kind of life. But my mom is my hero. She's like my mom and my dad all together. And, she's definitely a big reason why I am where I am today in terms of, laying the groundwork for me and teaching me some different habits and some mindset strategies.
And what was What was the impetus then to turn your life around? What was the?
Having my daughter really
Mm-hmm.
changed a lot. My daughter was born in 2009 in February, and I actually was not there when she was born at the hospital. I was still getting high, and that's a decision I have to live with. Not being there when your kid was born.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough pill to swallow as a parent, right? Like that's like one of the greatest days ever to be there in the hospital when your kid is born.
Mm-hmm.
I missed out on that, and I struggled trying to get clean even when she was born. And things finally changed when she was about 6 months old, and this was November 2009, and I had a conversation with myself. I found myself at a really low point, and I started really getting real with myself and seeking the truth. And I realized that my daughter's 6 months old, and she doesn't know that her dad's a piece of crap. That her dad is being selfish, and he's a deadbeat druggie, and she's too small to know this. But here soon, she's going to be old enough to realize who I am and what choices I'm making. And is that the life I want to live? Is that what I want to teach her? So I immediately made changes, and I've been clean since November 2009. After I had that conversation with myself, I made drastic changes as far as moving and surrounding myself with a different environment, different people, and yeah, then being able to overcome that was definitely something that challenged me. And it's everyone has a different story in terms of that moment
Mm-hmm.
of overcoming adversity, and it's painful, but you look back, and that's how you're able to grow and get better.
Yeah, yeah, that's very painful. It's so hard to go inward and uh, and admit those things and and just and see that about yourself. And what was your immediate first step? Like you said, you moved, and how important is it to surround yourself with uh, different people?
I mean, it's everything, right? You hear the old adage, the five people that you surround yourself with, you're going to, mimic them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Birds of the same feathers flock together, and it's really easy to just conform with your environment. People are either going to push you down or they're going to bring you up. It's one or the other, right? And a lot of times it's easy for us to just surround ourselves with our friends, our family members that aren't necessarily like-minded. And I'm not saying to not don't talk to your family, but you should be very careful the amount of time that you spend with people that you realize don't vibrate with the same frequency that you have. They don't have the same thoughts and ambitions, and you shouldn't surround yourself with people that agree with you with every single thing, right? Like it's I like having other viewpoints. I like being challenged. I like seeing other perspectives. But what I do want to do is surround myself with people that aren't okay being average, people that aren't okay underachieving, people that care about other people, people that have integrity. And it's really easy to get caught up, being friends with somebody because you've just been friends with them for so long and you know nothing different, but they're toxic.
Mm-hmm.
They're always having a bad day. They're always, we all know that person, right? That one person where it's just like every single time you talk to them, they're complaining about something. There's some kind of drama going on in their life. And that can rub off on you. And you could do your best to help that person. But unfortunately, there's people in this world where no matter how much you help, they like that. They like that negativity. They like that drama. They like that toxic, state.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you just have to cut the cord. And it's tough if it's family or close friends, but you do have to protect your environment because your environment is going to shape you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put up those boundaries and put on that armor sometimes when you have no choice, but you have to deal with that person. And it's it's
Exactly.
hard. It's hard. Well, how should someone support and help someone overcome
I think the best thing is, and I can just use a couple of real life examples. the best thing is setting an example, right? Like if you're someone that, if you know somebody that, is actively using, and you're somebody that's coming from the place of you're clean and you've overcame that, you really have to make sure that you're not being a hypocrite, right? Like, for example, if, someone is addicted to pills and they're talking about their journey and being clean and they're no longer using pills, and they're talking to their friend who is using pills, and they're giving them advice. Well, if you're the person that's giving advice and you're clean from using pills, but then you're smoking weed every day, that person is not going to take you serious, right? So it's like, you have to be very careful the position you come from, because, the last thing you want to do, what's going to hurt you, is you're not going to help somebody if you're coming from a place of being condescending, being a hypocrite. It's got to be pure, genuine love. Like, hey, I want to see you do better. And this is what I've done. I know how hard it is to battle with ABC, battle with alcohol, battle with drugs, whatever they're battling with. I know how hard it is to battle it because I've been there. But I know you could beat it because I beat it. And if I could do it, you could do it. But if you're saying that, you have to make sure that you just didn't replace one bad behavior with another bad behavior. They have to look at you, hear your advice, and be like, man, I want his life. I want her life. Like, I want to be happy and being in that state of mind and have that health. Like, I want that, right? But a lot of times people are just hypocrites. So, you have to earn your right to be able to want to help somebody. And I know that kind of sounds silly, but one of my good friends, he's been clean for a number of years, and I just consistently stayed in front of him, consistently reached out. Hey man, how are you? What's going on in your world? What are you excited about? And just being friends with him. And he always knew that I wanted to see him clean. And after enough time, he saw me live a life of abundance, of happiness, and pure, genuine love. Hey man, I want to see you do better. And not being condescending. And after a while, they have to want it, right? Like, it's like someone that's like overweight, someone that's overweight that wants to lose weight. They know they need to lose weight, but do they want it? Someone on drugs or that's an alcoholic, they know they need to stop, but how bad do they want it is what's going to get them to actually jump off the ledge and make a decision to stop doing that behavior.
Yeah. I think leading by example is the most powerful thing that someone can learn from, and someone can do. When you see someone who's been through something similar, and you see how they're doing, and you want that, and sometimes like, you don't know who you're affecting by living your life, and someone hears your story today, and you're gonna affect them, and they're gonna get some motivation, inspiration. It's just amazing. I just love when people when you lead by example, and everybody gets something out of it, and you don't even know about it. So, but
Exactly.
yeah, and so now, how did you made the decision to go through recovery and start this new life, to move, and how did you discover your new dream and your new goal in life?
Yeah, so I got involved in sales at 18 years old. I was in the real estate industry, and being involved in that space, I got used to hearing the word self-directed retirement accounts, basically people using their IRA and 401k to invest in real estate. And that was something that intrigued me. I didn't know you could use a retirement account besides just investing it in the stock market. I had no idea that existed. So that was something that I got introduced to years ago. And then I ended up pivoting. I got out of the real estate sales space about 7 years ago, and I got into the space I'm in now. Ended up working for a company for a number of years, and eventually started my own thing. Where captain of my own ship, so to speak, right? As an employee, you get to a point sometimes where you realize that there's an opportunity for you to step up and become a business owner. And that's the path I chose. When I figured out that, I could do this, I can make it work. If I can surround myself with the right people, I can make this happen. So, basically what our company does is we help people access money in the retirement accounts, penalty and tax free. And they can use that money to maybe fund their business, pay off high interest rate credit
Mhm.
card debt, maybe invest outside the stock market. So many people aren't aware that they can access the money inside their 401k, their IRA, penalty and tax free, and essentially liberate that account and have the freedom to use that money how they please. And so that's what we do is just educating people in that space. And I didn't grow up thinking I was going to get in this space.
Mhm.
I do think I got lucky in terms of being at the right place at the right time, but I do think when it comes to luck, there's a certain level of preparation
Mhm.
and work and taking action and seizing the opportunity. And a combination of those things, including surrounding myself with the right people and networking, allowed me to get to where I'm at today.
Yeah. Yeah. So many people have started their own businesses through this pandemic since it started. Why do you think that's the case?
I think it comes down to a lot of employees don't feel, well, one, there's the whole fear factor, right? Like there's legitimately people that are afraid to go to work because they're afraid of getting sick.
Mhm.
That's just a fact. Some people feel that way. And then there's also the whole idea of now that people realize that they can work remote, some companies are adapting better than others. And the culture of the company really matters, right? There's employees that are sick and tired of being underappreciated, or they don't feel valued. They don't feel like they can move up within the company. So combining that with social media and technology, and it's pretty popular to start a business during this time. So I think it was just a perfect storm of kind of everything happening all at once that allowed people to start to kind of survey their surroundings and make a choice to jump into being an entrepreneur.
Mhm. Yeah, I think people have time to uh, reevaluate their values and like you said, all these. It was a perfect storm, and they can work from home now. It's just amazing with technology, like we're recording today, and being able to,
Yeah,
you know, work from home. I mean, gosh, 25 years ago, I don't think you wouldn't have been able to do that, and it's just opened up so many doors. And then with the pandemic and being stuck at home,
yeah,
I think this type of technologies was a godsend. You know, to being able to keep
exactly.
working and being able to see family members that like my parents are older and we couldn't see them, and so um, trying to explain Zoom and all those other different ways of communicating was kind of funny. But yeah,
Oh yeah, an adjustment for a lot of those people for sure.
yeah, yeah. And so when you start a business, and like so many have, and like you have, how do you deal with um, imposter syndrome? And what keeps you motivated while you're building a business?
I so I don't think you ever get over imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
I think if you ask, most high level people, they still deal with doubt, some form of doubt. So I don't think it's a matter of overcoming
Mhm.
it. I think it's a matter of just managing it. And when that little voice of doubt creeps in, just putting that doubt in its place. And I think what can keep somebody motivated or keep that voice of doubt in its place, I think what it comes down to is just confidence, just having supreme confidence that you're going to make it happen, that you're going to make it work. And to get confidence, it comes down to building equity within yourself, building trust within yourself. The easiest way to lose confidence is when you don't see results. And another easy way to lose confidence is when you lie to yourself,
Mm.
when you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it,
Mm.
right? Then you realize that you're a fraud to yourself. Then you're feeding into the imposter syndrome. So the imposter syndrome gets bigger and bigger and bigger when you keep saying you're going to do something and you don't do it. Something as simple as, you said that you were going to go to the gym and you don't do it. You sleep in instead. You said that you were going to, do a video, a how-to video. You didn't do it. Instead, you watched Netflix, right? Like you said that you were going to send out a few emails to a couple important people for your business. You didn't do it because you went and hung out with friends at the bar instead. And I'm not saying, there's not a place and a time to go hang out with your friends or watch Netflix, but you have to be very careful and intentional with your time. And I'm just a firm believer that confidence is what it's about. That's like the nucleus. That's what's going to feed everything else, because being an entrepreneur is really tough. There's days where you're just trying to figure out how to make it through the day because, your client just canceled on you, or, maybe you just had a relationship turn south, or, your bank account isn't looking very good. You're in debt, like whatever it is,
Mhm.
there's those obstacles. And then there's days where things are going great, right? So you can't get too high. You can't get too low. So that's where confidence just comes into to just keep you going. And you have to feed that confidence every single day. And it starts with the little things that you say that you're going to do, because when you say you're going to do something and you do it, like you say, you're going to go on a walk around the neighborhood, or you're going to go on a run, or you're going to go do yoga, or you're going to go exercise, go to the gym, and you do it. When you get done, how much better do you feel about yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, so even those little things. And then if you keep not doing those little things that you said that you were going to do, they just build up. That doubt just builds up, and guilt, like I did it again. I didn't follow through, and you may not be disappointing someone else, but that self disappointment is really hard. Uh, so yeah, that's yeah. It's like making deposits in the bank. That self confidence bank. Just keep making them, and then
Exactly.
yeah, see that balance grow. Um, is there anything you would like to mention about Quest Education or your book, Blueprint to Your Best Retirement?
Yeah, I mean the whole idea. Yeah, the whole idea is just so many people that have a 401k from an old job or an IRA, and they thought that they couldn't touch this money until they retire. They were under the impression that this money is locked up, it's tied up, and it's out of sight, out of mind. They can't use it until they get older, and that's just a myth.
Mm.
So my book, Blueprint to Your Best Retirement, is just a simple, easy to digest, very quick read that gives you tactical information on how to access money in your retirement account, penalty and tax free. And it shows you how you can use the money different ways. Again, maybe it's to fund your business. So, your business that you're starting or you're wanting to start, you're hoping it makes enough money to, get you out of your 9 to 5, your corporate job. Or maybe you've got, 15, 20% interest rates on your credit cards. There's a way for you to access your retirement account, penalty and tax free, and pay off the credit card debt. And, that doesn't make sense in all the scenarios, but, at least I can't tell you how many people we've talked to that have credit card debt costing them 20% a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then their retirement account is making them 8% a year. Well, if you're making 8% on your money, but you're losing 20% on your debt, you're losing money faster than you're making money. So there's some ways to, be able to access your retirement account, penalty and tax free, pay off your high interest rate credit card debt,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're replenishing your retirement account. So instead of paying the banks, instead of paying the credit card debt, you're actually paying your retirement account back. So you're replenishing what you took out, so you're not robbing from your future. So, being able to understand some of these strategies in a simple form, that's the reason why I wrote the book. So someone can read it in a day or two, because again, it's not this really long, boring, complicated financial book. Read it in a short time frame, and then be able to take action with pretty simple connecting the dots kind of strategies to see some results. And, if you're interested in learning more how this works, you can check out the book at danielblue.me. That's Daniel, Daniel, and then blue, just like the color.me. And my website has access to the book, has access to our podcast, How Winners Win. It's got access to a bunch of free content. I've got a course as well about some of the information that I've touched on here. And then, if people have a 401k from an old job or an IRA, and the idea of accessing that money penalty and tax free appeals to you, there's a way for you to get more information on how to get that set up, by visiting my website. And you guys could always just reach out to me on social media, Instagram, Facebook as well, under Daniel Blue, and shoot me any messages. And I'm here to, help out and answer questions and see where I could, be able to provide some value.
Yeah, great. Yeah, because I need simple. That's what I need. Now, and I would have thought that I could not touch my 401k. I was under that assumption that I could not touch it at all without paying a penalty. That's good to know that there is a way to access that money.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Wall Street, the reason why you don't know that, and a lot of people don't, is because Wall Street likes it that way, right? If you're using the money penalty and tax free and using it besides just the stock market, they're not making money off of that, right? So that's why it's not something that's talked about. But these are IRS approved legitimate strategies that have been around for a long time. It's just a matter of knowing about it and knowing what steps to take.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've come to the part of the podcast where I ask you 5 random questions. Are you game?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, if you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
It probably would be number one, Jesus. I would love to pick his brain on a few things. And then after that, it probably would be Winston Churchill. I think he's got quite the story. And then after that, How Winners Win is my podcast. So I really into sports and competing and things like that. So I'd love to sit down and ask Michael Jordan some questions. Those would be my 3.
Nice. So what is your morning routine?
I get up around 4:30 to 5:30. Just kind of depends if I got to take my daughter to school that day. I go to the gym, stretch, sauna. I read for about 10 minutes, just a quick little read to kind of get me in a good mindset. And then I usually take my daughter to school, play with the dog, and then I'm in my office around 9:30.
What is your favorite pump up song? Do you have anything that?
Oh, geez.
Or just gets you moving?
Yeah, I mean, it usually rock. I'll listen to some rock in the morning. That'll kind of get the blood flowing as I'm in the gym.
If you could turn back time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you say to him?
I would say just do the things you say you're going to do, right? Because that's just going to breed confidence and help with you adjusting to failing and being able to eliminate or minimize that doubt.
And if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would say you live to your potential, right? I mean, like, we all have potential. So I would hope that I've been able to, overachieve and not underachieve. I think that's everyone's probably biggest regret is, just thinking about when the time is up, did you leave it all on the court? Did you put all the effort in? Did you have the conversations that you should have had and did the things you should have done? Right. It's easy to think about the things that you want to do and you should do, but did you do them? So I'm hoping that, that's the case for me.
Wonderful. I like that. Did you leave it all on the court? If people want to find you, where to know more about you, where can they find
DanielBlue.me
you? Okay.
is the best place. That's my website, and that will give you, again, access to my social media, a bunch of free content about retirement accounts and some of the things we talked about, my book, my course, and all that fun stuff.
Okay. And all of Daniel's contact information will be in the show notes. Thank you, Daniel, for joining me today on the Holistic Life Coach Podcast.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks for listening to the Holistic Life Coach Podcast. Show notes can be found at theholisticlifecoachpodcast.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to be notified when the next episode drops. Until next time, beautiful souls.